Hello and welcome to Essbeez Academy once again. Thank you for your love and support. I have received several requests from parents of school-going children to make some content for that particular age group from which they could benefit and the children could be trained appropriately from a very young age. So this video has been created keeping the school children, the young children in mind, and this video aims to train the school-going children in proper classroom communication and etiquette from a relatively young age. Apart from teaching them the basics of polite communication that could be made to the teacher, to their classmates, to their seniors, or to the other staff members of the school, this lesson integrates modals as a language structure to be used for making polite requests and seeking permission in the classroom. To begin with the first example, can I join the study or the tutorial group? Suppose you have a group of friends who are already doing a group study, and if you want to join that group, you need to seek an informal permission whether you can join their group. So the best word to use over there is can. Can I join the study or the tutorial group? Let's come to the second example. May I come in the class? May I come in? That is in referring to the classroom. Referring to the classroom. You often ask a teacher before entering the class, before entering the library, before entering the auditorium or the staff room, you often seek permission from your teacher. I did not understand the topic. Could you explain it once again, please? This is how you should request your teacher if you have to understand one topic over again. If you want the teacher to repeat the topic, that is how you should ask, right? Take a look at example number 4. Kindly excuse me for a while. Like suppose you are having a conversation with a group of people from your class, right? They may not exactly be the best of friends with you, but you're friendly with them, like they are your batchmates, or might be they are your seniors. So in that case, and while you are having that conversation with them, suddenly a teacher or a close friend of yours calls you for some reason. So how will you excuse yourself before? You just cannot leave that conversation abruptly, right? So you need to excuse yourself politely from them so that you can attend to your teacher or to your best friend and know why they might be calling you, right? So this is how you should say, kindly excuse me for a while, right? When you have to excuse yourself from a particular situation or a conversation. This is something, if you take a look at example number 5, this is a very common way of usage, like in modern English and in modern polite conversation. Instead of saying, ma'am, can I go to toilet? We say, ma'am, may I be allowed to use the washroom? That is a better way of conversation. That's a better way of communication. So please keep these examples in mind. Taking example 6 into consideration, may I visit Ma'am Das once as she has asked me to report at 2 p.m. Suppose you are attending a class and another teacher has sent for you in the middle of the class, right? Or another teacher has asked you to report to him or her for some important matter. So how to excuse yourself from the class before the teacher? So what is the best way, the most polite way to excuse yourself from the class before the teacher without offending the teacher that you are going to miss the teacher's class for a while because you have to meet another teacher, right? So this is the way how you shall do it. Take a look at example number 6, right? Example number 7. I am ready. May I start the presentation, reading, performance or speaking? So suppose you've been asked to give a presentation to the class, or you've been asked to read out a passage, or suppose you've been asked to speak for an extempore in the class, right? And before you start, you need to give a signal to the audience and to the teacher that you are ready. May I start the presentation or the speaking? It is not just about seeking permission whether you can start, but this is a way of signaling the audience to be ready and attentive and to maintain decorum and silence as you are ready for the speech or the performance. Right? So this is a way, this particular example, number 7, serves dual purpose. Right? So keep this in mind. Let's take a look at example number 8. How can you ask a friend or a batchmate or a senior or a teacher to help you with your homework assignment or project? So you're requesting somebody, like that person will be sparing his or her valuable time to help you with your homework or assignment apart from doing his or her own work. So you just cannot order or command however friendly that person you might be with that person, right? So you need to ask him or her politely whether the person is ready to help you with your work. Example number 9 is a very common situation. May I close the door or the window? Like it often happens while you're attending the class, maybe the class beside yours is very noisy and you're not able to follow the teacher's lecture, right? So how do you request the teacher in order to maintain a proper decorum, a proper environment in the classroom? So you may be requesting the teacher whether you can close the door of the classroom or whether you can close the window so that you can focus better in the class, right? So this is about the rest of the examples of the polite conversation in classroom. So please follow this. I'm sure you're going to benefit a lot from this. Coming to the third set of examples of making polite classroom conversation, suppose you have to switch on or switch off the fan, switch on, switch off the light or the projector or whatsoever, any kind of device, right? So this is how you seek the permission, right? Maybe you are feeling hot while the other person is feeling cold. So just directly going to the switchboard and switching on the fan is not the right way. You need to seek permission from the other people in the class, find out about their convenience, and then you should proceed. And this is how you should frame your request, right? May I switch on the projector? May I switch on the light or the fan? May we refer to our textbooks to complete the task? Like instead of textbooks, it could be maps or notes, or workbook, whatever material, reading or study material you might be having at your disposal, right? Suppose you're finding it difficult to complete the task without referring to the textbook or your study material. So instead of directly opening the textbook or quote unquote cheating from the textbook and without the knowledge of the teacher, it is always better you request the teacher that maybe for some reason you're finding it difficult to complete the task, if it's just a class work and not an examination, right? Although we are having open book examination nowadays. So you request your teacher that may we refer. This is the way you need to approach your teacher if you're coming up with such kind of a request, referring to the study material to complete the classwork, right? Suppose you're not carrying your box of crayons or your box of color pencils, sketch pen, geometry box, or maybe a particular textbook or a map, right? Instead of geometry box, it could be anything else. So you confess, like, instead of keeping quiet in the classroom while the entire class is going on, you confess it to the teacher that you're not having that particular thing, whether it's a geometry box or whatsoever, uh, on that particular day in the classroom, and whether you can borrow it from the other section or from another class or from somebody in the classroom who may be having a second set of it, right? So this is the way how you need to frame your request to the teacher. Coming to example number 13, suppose you have been absent for some genuine reason for the last lesson and there has been an assignment that has been given by the teacher which you need to complete in due course, and you feel that since you were absent for the last lesson, you need a couple of days extra time to prepare and submit the assignment. So you need to directly approach the teacher politely and request the teacher for some extra time to complete the task, right? So that is how you need to approach the teacher, right? That is how you need to request the teacher politely to give you some extra time to complete the task, citing the genuine reason why you couldn't complete it on time. Coming to the fourth set of illustrations that you can see on the screen, we come to example number 14, where you are expressing some kind of obligation. Suppose you have been assigned some task, like suppose there's been a cultural function that has been organized by your school, and you have been assigned some responsibility, right? Once you've completed that, if you have to show that you are a responsible student who can take care of multiple arrangement for a function to take place to be organized smoothly, once you have completed the task, you request the teacher, what do I have to do next, right? So if you're requesting the teacher for some other task that you're willing to carry out, this is how you need to approach your teacher or your authorities regarding the next set of tasks that you're willing to carry out with equal enthusiasm and responsibility. Coming to the next example, I could not complete the homework, right? This is an expression of inability. Suppose you had to submit a homework, a set of, a task, a home task or a home assignment or a project, and you couldn't complete it due to some reason. Like there has been a major power failure at your place, and that is the reason you couldn't have access to the computer and the internet to complete your project. So this is how you express like something that you have failed, which you have been committed to submit and you couldn't really do it. This is how you should say, I could not complete the homework as there was a major power failure at my place, right? This is the polite way of expressing your inability to do something that has been assigned by your school for a particular date, right? Coming to example number 16, we should follow the teacher's instruction during the test. Please do not disturb me. Suppose you're a very sincere student who's writing a particular test very diligently, following the teacher's instruction of not to talk during the examination, and there is a friend of yours who's sitting right next to you, and perhaps that fellow is not really well prepared for the examination, and that person is poking you constantly with his pen in order to elicit some correct responses for the examination question paper. And you being the very sincere and diligent student, how would you actually deny your friend's request, right? What is the best way, right? Instead of being directly impolite to your friend, what is the way you should follow the teacher's instruction, and at the same time you should be polite enough to turn down your friend's request for any kind of help during the examination. So this is the way you can actually follow this particular this particular way of communication is something that you can follow, so that you can also maintain the decorum of the examination hall, and at the same time you also know how to politely turn down your friend, right? Example number 17. Ma'am, should I get you a duster from the staff room? We often face these kind of situations in the class, like the teacher has come, the duster is not there, or maybe say if people are using smart boards in the class, the marker pens are not there. If people are using green board or blackboard in the class, chalks are not there. So you often being kind of being a responsible student of the class, or if you're a class monitor or a prefect, you often say request the teacher, ma'am, should I get your duster from the staff room? So these are the usual way, the standard ways of communication to a teacher which you should learn, so that you are you can establish your image as a more polite student in the classroom. We have arrived at the last set of illustrations for making polite classroom conversation, and we will start with example number 18, which you can see on the screen. Okay, this is how, when we are talking about rules of a particular organization, which we must oblige or we must follow, right? There are rules, certain rules in the school regarding any particular event. Say for example, over here we have the Independence Day celebration. Whenever we are attending the flag hoisting celebration for the Independence Day, right, so we have to follow a particular dress code or a particular set of rules. So whenever you're talking about the set of rules for an organization, we use the words must or have to indicate that, right? So whenever you are discussing with your friend in order to familiarize your friend whether they know what is the set of rules to be followed during the Independence Day celebration, that is how you say we must wear tricolored bands on our wrists, right? So this is the way when you're talking about rules of school. Right, there are plenty of rules you can get to see in your school diary or in your school notice board. This is how, whenever you're conversing with your friends regarding the rules of school, this is something that you need to use, must or have to, right? The next example that we have is a request. Do you mind sharing your history textbook with me today? I have forgotten to bring mine to the class. So you're making a polite request to your bench partner. The one with whom you're sharing your bench. Suppose you've forgotten to bring a particular textbook to the class, or it could be a geometry box or a color pencil set. You request that friend of yours, that person may not be a very close friend of yours, maybe your bench partner, and you request that person, do you mind sharing? This is the way. Do you mind sharing? This is the way of making a polite request. So please keep this in mind. Another way of framing a polite request to your teacher or to your friend is given in example number 20. Would you mind shifting to the second bench? I cannot see the blackboard properly from the last bench. This is a common problem which most of us face whenever we have been to our classroom. I'm talking about the pre-pandemic stage, when we had offline classes, when we had to go to school, and hopefully in the coming days also when we will be again getting back to our schools and to our classrooms. It often happens, suppose you're having some problem with your eyesight and from the last bench you cannot see the blackboard properly. So you request your teacher, you request your friends who are probably having better eyesight to shift to a place or to shift to the other bench so that you can see the blackboard properly from the first bench, right? So this is the way how you should be making requests for any kind of request, right? Do you mind or would you mind? These are the standard ways of making very polite requests in the classroom. So that is all about today's lesson. I believe you have understood, and hopefully you will be able to abide by these norms, these etiquettes, these conversation samples that I have provided in this video, and hopefully you will put them to use whenever you're going to converse with your friends and your teachers in the classroom. So, wish you all a very happy learning. Thank you for watching our videos. Keep supporting Essbeez Academy by subscribing to our YouTube channel. Share the videos if you like the content and leave your valuable feedback in the comments. Don't forget to press the bell icon for receiving notifications about our new videos. If you're watching the video from our Facebook page, do not forget to like and follow Essbeez Academy for updates on new videos and upcoming courses. Happy learning!